Hello, good morning. It's just gone 6 AM on Saturday, the 1st of February. I'm just leaving my hometown of Bath to start my February 200km DIY Audax. This will be month 10 of my 17th Randonnuer around the year series. I thought I'd just do a quick vlog as I did last week on my phone. The audio quality may not be great and the video after dark's pretty poor as well. I'm heading south out of Bath over the Mendips, then I'll drop down into Wales, head westwards over to the Somerset coast, which I'll reach at Burnham-on-Sea, then turning north for a big part of the day up to Weston-super-Mare, Clevedon to Portishead, and then up to Severn beach near the second Severn crossing. Then I'll head eastwards there and then start dropping back south, skirting the Cotswolds back to Bath. I'm on this very minor road at the moment, running parallel to Fossway. I'll talk to you when I'm up on the Mendips just before I plunge down into Wales. It should be light by then. See you in a bit. Okay, we've now done a couple of miles up on the West Mendip Limestone Plateau. We're dropping down hard into Wales. And beyond, you may see in the distance, very hazy, there's a distinctive dome of Glastonbury Tor there. So we drop down fast, cut through Wales, and then it's very flat over to the coast. It was quite slow coming out of Bath. First of all, I was on minor roads in the dark, so I had to be cautious. No ice, but it was quite wet and gritty in places, potholey. And also, because it's very, very hilly. But I'm making up some good time now. So you just got to bear that in mind, really. If you're ever going really, really slow, it won't last forever. And quite often you'll get a payback, and this is it. Here we are then in Wales. Just drop down really fast off the Mendips. Then turn off this B road through this cut through. And here's Wales Cathedral. You can see from the clock it's just gone 8 AM. We're going to go along there, snake our way out through Wales, and then head out pretty much due westwards over to the coast. We're now on this very fast leg between Wales and Burnham-on-Sea. It's on the flats, and if you can see just over there, there's the ridgeline of the Mendips, so we're running parallel to it. So we came from Bath over it, dropped down into Wales. Just gone 9 AM. I'm making really good progress down on the Somerset levels. This is the village of Mark. Look at that. Spring bulbs coming up. There's daffs there. A couple of swans looking back over at Mark Church. And we're heading round this S-bend here, about 5 or 6 miles from Burnham-on-Sea. I've just stopped here to change a little bit. So I've just turned my ankle bands round to green, high vis. From the Scots light, I'll do the same with that one now. I've taken off my high-vis jacket. That'll be for later on, it gets dusk. And I've got my battery charger in there. I'm just topping up on the go, my head torch. And then when that's done, I'll do my front light. And then each time I stop, I'll charge the Garmin's up a little bit. The greatest thing about that power pack is, once something's charged, it'll just switch off. It won't drain the battery. And there's 10,000 milliamp hours in there. There's more than enough there for a day ride. Although I've taken off my workman's high-vis top, I've still got a bright yellow high-vis gilet on. Not quite as much Scotch tape. I really felt vulnerable in that on a recent Audax when I dropped the high-vis work jacket out my bag. And in the dark on busy roads, I felt so vulnerable. This is great during the day, but I just don't think there's enough Scotch light on it after dark. Just gone 9:30 AM. I've come in through the side streets and I'm at Burnham-on-Sea, the first of my resorts today. And the tide's in. I mean, normally this is really big bank of sand over there. You can see all the construction work over there for Hinkley C, the big nuclear power station. All the cranes and the concrete. And the water's lapping in here. Do you know, it's years since I've actually seen the tide in here. There is actually a very small pier there, but normally this is just sand almost as far as you can see. There's Steepholm over there. One of those 3 Bristol Channel Islands. There's two up here, Steepholm and Flatholm, and then the third one, Lundy Island, is much further down the coast. And along there is the very iconic white wooden lighthouse. Going to go along about a quarter mile or so, turn right, and then start heading up parallel to the coast and make our way up to Weston-super-Mare. Okay, first setback of the morning. I'm avoiding a really busy road up there on this minor road. I've been seeing signs saying road closed diversion. I thought I'd come along and chance it, but you can see padlocked here just to get across this bridge. No way, Jose. I think I'm going to take the Sustrans route down there, and I think that'll take me into the back of Weston-super-Mare. I've just taken a photograph so I can send the organiser just to explain the problem. Sort of thing you have to deal with on a DIY Audax. You've got to figure these things out on the road. Literally, it's just this bridge closed. No workmen here as well. So I was just hoping I would chance it. Anyway, it's not to be. That route was called the Breandown Way, which is not really where I wanted to go. I would end up on a big peninsula. But I roughly knew I could get into Weston this way from memory. And I've come onto a bit of Luke Hounsom's North Somerset Wander route. I remember this from last year actually, so you can see it's skirting around these fields, and that's Uphill Church there. That's just on the outskirts of Weston-super-Mare. So whenever you have something like that, it can stress you out a little bit. And a fantastic piece of advice I got on a neuroscience course was, if you're ever starting to get stressed out and having negative thoughts, just flip them into a question. You can easily do that on an Audax, can't you? I mean, instead of thinking something like, I'm going to miss my deadline, you flip it into, am I going to miss my deadline? And in essence, what's happening is you're ramping up your reasoning centres, dialling down your stress response. By all accounts, studies show that the two correlate almost perfectly. There's plenty of studies explaining that in more detail. If you want more information, just go onto Google Scholar and tap in something like functional MRI studies of reappraisal strategies. You'll find reams and reams of research there. But I've just found it a really, really powerful and effective strategy. Just after passing underneath Uphill Church, the Garmin started homing in on the route, and then you could see my submitted track was in front of me, and then suddenly the Garmin pinged saying I was back en route, and almost instantly I got a low battery alarm from the other Garmin. So I thought, Weston-super-Mare, 50 miles under my belt, it's a good place to stop and have my first snack. And I can run some numbers as well. 48 miles coming up. So that will give me an estimated time to finish in a minute, 6:29, let's say 6.5 hours. And again, I can use a bit of reasoning now to do some sums and get a rough idea of what time I'm likely to finish. In fact, the numbers are quite easy, aren't they? If it's 10:30 and there's 6.5 hours to go, that's 11 o'clock plus 6 hours, that's 5 p.m. According to the Garmin at the moment, it won't be 5 p.m, but it gives me a rough idea. So once again, my time allowance for this is 14 hours and 7 minutes, let's say 14 hours. I left home at 6 o'clock this morning. That means I've got till just gone 8 this evening. And if the Garmin's saying it's estimating me to get in at 5 p.m, I mean, that gives me 3 hours in hand. So you can see, even though a slight setback there, a little bit of stress, but not long. I'm quite pleased with that actually, considering it was quite a slow start out of Bath. But as I said, you've got to hold your nerve really, and just know that in fact, once you drop off to Mendips, you'll claw a lot of that time back. And then the really fast section over the Somerset levels. Anyway, time for some lunch here. Then we're going to carry on through the coast, skirt round past Grand Pier, past Burnback Pier over there, cut round the coast and see those woods there. That's Cewstet Woods. We're going to go all the way around Cewstet Woods, and the next seaside resort after Weston will be Clevedon. Anyway, I'm going to use this windbreak there just to have a quick sandwich. Just as we leave Weston-super-Mare and go into Cewstet Woods, a couple of points of interest. There's the old Burnback Pier. It's been derelict and neglected for about 20-30 years. The council have just done a compulsory purchase and they're going to renovate it. You can see at long last they're doing some structural work to try and save it. We're going to go up here through Cewstoke Woods around the edge of the coast as we head up to Clevedon. But can you see that park shelter up there? All it is a weather shelter. A couple of panes of glass still left in it, even though it's spray painted. In the 1980s, there used to be a BBC programme called Shoestring. It was a detective drama with Eddie Shoestring in, who was a private detective who solved mysteries. It was all filmed around here, and that actually became like a punk rockers cafe. And the resident band now was led by a very, very young Toya Wilcox. And there was some kind of mystery surrounding it. But yeah, all it is a shelter. But the BBC made it look like a thriving cafe somehow. A few props. Anyway, enough of memory lane. Let's carry on with the Audax. Before I know what's what, coming into Clevedon. This is next to the Victorian Resorts. Lovely pier there. After the resort of Clevedon, we climb up on a cliff. It's a bit of a slog out, get some really good views across the estuary, and then you drop down into Portishead. There's some really good views as you come down there. And then, before you know where you are, you're going over the Avonmouth Bridge. It's the M5 bridge. There's a cycleway alongside it, and then you drop down into Shirehampton, round the back of Avonmouth docks. And it's a little bit industrial around there, but in a perverse sort of way. I quite like it actually. There's lots of cycleways alongside main roads, keeps you away from all the heavy traffic. And it also uses bits of old railway, and you cut through parks. And before you know where you are, you're up at Severn Beach actually, which is our turning point. So we're over halfway. I think we're on about 65 miles now, so about 63, 62 to go. And it really is a game of two halves this afternoon's much more industrial as opposed to these Victorian quaint resorts. I'm taking this minor coastal road up between Clevedon and Portishead, just coming into a little resort of Walton Bay. Got a little watchtower over there, possibly a lighthouse. You can see in the distance actually, that's the new Severn Bridge. The Prince of Wales Bridge carrying the current M4 across. That's pretty much where our turn point is, and from here it doesn't look very far, but it is quite a few miles yet because we weave in and out. We've got to cross the Avon Gorge first and then weave all up through Avonmouth. It'll be a good hour and a half, possibly 2 hours before we get there. Right at this end of it is Severn Beach. That'll be the last of the resorts. That'll be our turning point. So I've just climbed up from Clevedon, coming from that direction, turn left here. And this road, I love this, it drops down into Portishead. But it's fairly residential, but can you see it looks like it's going to plunge right down like a ski slope into the estuary. It doesn't, of course, Portishead is at the bottom. Then we'll start weaving our way around to Avonmouth, across the Avonmouth Bridge. We've left Portishead this way, came along Sheepway it's called, and now we're crossing over these busy roads. That's heading into Bristol, that's Commuter Road. And that's the M5, that will have just come off the Avonmouth Bridge. We'll be crossing it soon that way. You can see the M5's bending round, going up that slope, and then it'll bear off to the right. It'll hug that tree line. And the left-hand carriageway, the southbound, actually is cut into a ledge on the hill, and this is where the motorway levels split. The northbound, the right-hand side, is actually suspended on stilts. You quite often used to see it on public information films. I think it's warning you about driver fatigue. But it's that iconic bit of motorway, that's just round the corner. This way anyway, we're going to head through Pill, Gordano, and then cut across the Avonmouth Bridge. Okay, we just came in to Pill, behind these houses, and dropped down the hill. And that's what we're looking at. That's the Avonmouth M5 bridge. Just behind there, you can't see it from here, it's sunken down. That's the River Avon. So we're on the south bank of it, and we're going to cross over to the north bank. And the river is literally right near the mouth as it flows into the Bristol Channel, you know, hence the name Avonmouth. So we're going to go along here, half a mile or so, get on a cycle path that'll take us across that bridge. Then just down the other side, we're going to drop down in Shirehampton, start making our way up around the back of the Avonmouth Industrial Estate. There's the River Avon. You can see how tidal and muddy it is. See that little harbour, that dock there? That's the back of Southampton. And as I understand it, the Roman port for Bristol was at Southampton. That could well have been it, or possibly just round the corner. But bearing in mind, the mouse is just over there. This is the urban bit now. It's called the Lawrence Western Greenway. And it's a mix of old railways, cut-throughs through park, little bit of deprived housing area. And it's a bit smelly, noisy, unsightful. Yet, I actually really like this section. We're leaving Lawrence Western now, really heading into Avonmouth. And it's basically just a main road with lots of industrial units running up it, and we'll be weaving in alongside it, sometimes running right next to the road, other times weaving through little areas like this. Just crossing over one of the motorways. We really are heading into the back of Avonmouth docks here. See all the wind turbines. We're running over and under several motorway spurs because they split here and head over both the Severn bridges. You can see right behind Bristol docks there with the wind turbines. Some of these will run right alongside, and on certain days you can actually hear the blades cutting through the air. You can hear the whooshes. Passing under one of the motorway spurs, no lighting in subway due to fire damage. You can get an idea of what happens along here. Lots of dumping, burnt out cars. Around here you'll sometimes see burnt out cars. We may pass one shortly, but back there at Lawrence Western I saw my first burnt out e-bike. You know, one of these e-scooters that you can rent and then just take back somewhere. It's just completely burnt out. You know, normally you'll sort of see a burnt out car in places like that, but that was my first burnt out e-bike. I should have taken a picture of it, but to be honest, I was on a bit of a roll. I didn't want to stop. Anyway, welcome to Avonmouth. See, we're running right alongside these wind turbines, running along one of these streams. The smell coming off that is putrid. I wouldn't want to fall in that. I really wouldn't. Back of an Amazon depot by the look of it. As I said, it looks a bit grim. It definitely smells and it's definitely noisy, but I just really like it along here. I've just come to really like this section. That reminds me of one of those old 1960s Doctor Who. I wouldn't toss a stone in there just in case I disturb something unpleasant. Anyway, let's roll on. That's avoiding what can be quite a busy road over there through all these dead ends, little industrial estates. You can see it's a little bit untidy in places. But I once rode this with a couple of mates, and one of them, he actually works around here. He's a driver, and he said to me, I didn't realise, I think it was this one actually, because he comes out of there, and he sort of said, where are you going? I sort of said, just following the route. And he said, do you know what, I never knew that led anywhere. So even people who work around here were unaware of this. And he was quite taken with it actually, because he knows the area and he thought he knew the area and learnt quite a bit that day. That was just the joys of GPS. This is just one I made up. One last bit of cycle path to avoid the main road, right underneath that wind turbine, look. We've emerged from all the industrial area. We're now just running alongside what can be a very busy road on a weekday. Is back-to-back lorries along here, so it's so nice to have this cycle path. Power station over there. Even on a Saturday it's a bit grim. We just literally carry on up here another couple of miles, turn left, and we're at Severn Beach. This is Severn Beach, so we've just come in up that way, and then down past the station you may see the red sign. We're going to come down here and go around there. But I always just take a few minutes to come up here and have a look at the view. There's an old heritage trail along here, which gives you an idea of what this place used to be like. It used to be a Victorian resort, believe it or not. Hard to imagine now. But it had a boating lake and a railway going round it. And I seem to remember, I saw on Facebook recently, the guy is going to try and re-establish that railway. He's built one in his garage at home, you know, that sort of guy. It was either here or at Fleetwood. I'm pretty sure it's here, so who knows, in years to come. You can definitely tell it's a different social group here, actually. Once you get money and a bit of ambition, you know, people that do things like that make the place nicer. So who knows where the boating lake used to be. There may one day be a circular railway taking kids round on trips. There used to be ice cream kiosks and everything along here. I can just remember one, actually, in its final days. My brother came here in his 20s and he said he remembers it still as a resort then, but I think the new Severn Bridge pretty much put an end to that. It's a pretty amazing structure, isn't it? I just had a palpitation then. I looked at my phone, I thought it said 17:08. I thought, God, that means I've only got 3 hours left to do 40 miles, which I could probably do at a push, but I don't want to. It's 15:08, 3:08, so phew. Just for a split second I misread that. I thought, oh no, where did that 3 hours in hand go? That's looking back at Avonmouth, that way you can see. I do like it here. You can see all the industry there. All the wind turbines, just hear the roar of the traffic. So leaving Severn Beach, crossing one of the motorway spurs. There's another one over there. And can you see that railway tunnel down there? So the railway has just gone through that hill, comes out exposed, and then the entrance to Severn Tunnel is underneath here somewhere. And I'm told the piles for the new bridge are very, very close to that Severn Tunnel. So obviously they took extreme care when they were putting this bridge in. But it's not exactly on top, but it's just slightly to one side, as I understand it. So I'm just going to continue along here, climb up, cross over that motorway. I think that's the M4. The minute we've climbed over on a bridge like this, we drop down, then we turn right, double back on ourselves, and we'll run right alongside its eastbound carriageway as the traffic's headed towards Bath. So we've just crossed over the M4. See that sign there, New Passage, Pillhead Coal Offices. That would head back towards Severn Beach and the coast. This is where we leave the coast, so we do this very sharp right-hand bend here actually. We're going to run alongside the M4. Here we are, on another one of these greenways, running right alongside the eastbound carriageway, the M4. Can you see that sign there? It says, "Welcome to England," which suggests this side is Wales. I don't think for 1 minute it is. I think the border is over that way slightly. I don't think Severn Beach is in Wales, is it? I just sort of think that's probably for motorists, let them know they're on this side of the bridge. So we just go along here a little bit alongside the motorway, and then we'll cut off left and we'll end up on some really nice quiet roads. Then you emerge along one of these greenways. It's a bit like C.S. Lewis. It's like the wardrobe. You just come out to this end of a no-through road. And that used to be a pub over there. Oh look, there's the pub sign still up there. When I first rode this as a DIY, I made it up about 5, 6, 7 years ago. That was still a pub, actually, so it's only recently closed. I can imagine why. There wouldn't be much business down here these days, would there? Anyway, going to head up there, get on some lanes, and then before we know what's what, I think we're on the outskirts of Thornbury. Okay, situation update. I made really good progress, ploughed on up through Thornbury. Then as I was dropping down, heading north in the Berkeley Vale, I thought, it's getting dusk, I'll pop in Rockhampton Rugby Club. It's a little wooden shed just outside the village. It looked all quiet and locked up. I know there's a water tap round the back, and I thought, great, I can put my high vis on, start getting ready for the nighttime section, have a snack and everything. And I literally just sat down on one of the benches, and all these cars started pulling in. These big hefty blokes got out, and I just explained I was having a snack and a bit of a break. They said, yeah, sure, no problem. Asked if it's okay to fill my water bottle up. Sure, no problem. Of course, It's first weekend of Six Nations Rugby. They're all going in the bar to watch England v Ireland. I would have actually done this ride yesterday, actually. Yesterday was the better day. It's just the fact yesterday was still January. As I needed 200-kilometre DIY for my February Randonnuer around the year, had to be today. I'd have loved to have been sat at home now with a couple of beers watching the rugby, but England-Wales is always my favourite match, actually, so as long as I'm in front of the box for that, I don't mind. Anyway, this is the Little River Avon. You may hear the roar of the M5 over there. We're going to go up here, turn right, cut along the top of the edge of the hill. That's Michael Wood over there, better known for the Michael Wood services. Oh yeah, right. And then start heading down towards Tortworth, back towards the bike track. I just held back from that lady, then she pulled in to let me go by, so I'm just going to give her a couple of minutes. I don't want to spook her horse. It's darker than it looks, actually. I'd imagine within 20 minutes or so it's going to be dark. So I've got my ankle bands turned round from green to Scotch light. I've got my high-vis vest on with all the Scotch light. Got tons of lights on there flashing away, so I feel much safer. It's about 20 miles to finish, 23 I think, something like that. Well, it's 12 minutes past 7 and I'm back in Bath. I'm just coming off the end of the Bath to Bristol bike track at Brassmore Lane. It's about 1.2 miles from my house. So I've got almost an hour in hand. So early this morning I had 3 hours. I ate into 2 of those, just chilling out, eating, making that diversion. It just shows with that setback, sometimes things can work in your own favour, because I'm actually going to add that into this route. It's actually a nicer way into Weston-super-Mare. I did consider using the peer-to-peer route between Weston and Cleveland to avoid a main road, but it would cut too much distance out of the route. I have to do at least 200 kilometres. I can do over, but I cannot do under, and that would have taken it under by about 5, I think. In effect, it cuts off a big corner. There's my bike, the Red Thorn. Everything went smoothly today. I did say a while back that I tried an experiment. I actually pumped tyre sealant into the inner tubes. Now, whether that's helped prevent punctures or not, I don't know. I think the main point of defence is having good tyres, and obviously try not to ride over broken glass, things like that. But, you know, just it's got that second and third layer of protection, hasn't it? Whether it helps or not, I don't know. I think I'll only ever know when I take the inner tube out and find out if there's any punctures in it that have been mended. I did say I'd try and film one of my winter 200-kilometre DIYs. Turns out I've done all 3, haven't I? December, January and February. In fact, I've done 4. I did the first December one where I had to pack when my saddle broke in Cardiff. My next video may well be in about a week and a half, because I understand Devonshire Tunnel is due to be reopened to cyclists on February the 7th. That's next Friday, a week yesterday. I think what I'd do is get my titanium bush box wood stove and ride out to the picnic table just the other side of Midford Viaduct and have a bacon sandwich and a coffee there. It's kind of become traditional in February or March, and I'll tell you about the plans for my summer tour. It's already booked now. Well, the final night's booked, so I know what day I've got to finish by. I haven't quite figured out what day I'm going to start yet, if that makes sense. It's a bit like the sniper method, isn't it? You spot the target and then work backwards and line the sights up. If you got this far, thank you for watching. See you soon.